Hi there, my name is Krista Williams, and I'm here with Adam Stuyuela, and we're here to talk to you about CDL ONE.
Canadian Discovery, who are we? Canadian Discovery is a 30-year track record as a global independent information services company, and we've also provided consulting in the subsurface with a focus on hydrodynamics and regional geoscience. We have a strong history of creating advanced data sets and applications, the largest of which, and probably the most familiar, being the well completions and frac database, but there's also been a multitude of other ones in our history. And our clients are geoscientists, engineers, investors, and executives all over the globe. We provide our services to upstream oil and gas, midstream entities, banking, and private equity, among others. What are we doing today? What are the products and services we're offering? We have the Canadian Discovery Digest. We have CDL Integrated Studies and Atlases. We have CDL Data, which includes the Fluid Dynamics Database and Play Metrics. And then we have CDL Consulting. So the topic of today is really, CDL ONE, and it includes the Digest, the Integrated Studies and Data, all as one combined subscription.
Building on that further, what is CDL ONE? Well, it's taking those four primary pillars and subscription products that CDL has developed throughout all of its years of doing work here in the Western Canadian Sedimentary Basin and across into the Williston Basin. And it's that understanding of what's going on in the subsurface. And so that's really part of the technical studies, where there's well over 300 studies within there that go through the basins and really touch in on a lot of those assessments in terms of whether it's, a regional picture, the hydrodynamic picture, petrophysics, core analysis. And then you tie that with the digest, which is talking about what's current, what's going on. And it's also a great repository for information of what has been done in these plays throughout history. And it's taking that expertise and that understanding of what was done 20 years ago and how things have changed in that play today. And then you move over to the Fluid Dynamics database. And so this is a database that essentially we have all of our pressures, temperatures, and chemistry that you can go through. And in a play like the Montney, where you need to really start to understand all of those parameters and the interplays within your different stratigraphic zones, it becomes a very useful tool in terms of you understanding your OGIPs in place and what phase you could be in and what you can expect for some of your production outcomes. And then when we tie that together with the Play Metrics module, what we find with the Play Metrics module is that really this becomes a way for you to benchmark your wells and the production that you're seeing, whether you're in the gas phase, the liquids, or oil, and you can start to compare it to other wells within similar plays. And this is based on some of the forecasting that has been done by Sproul. And so you can start to group them by your tiers and really understand what are some of the expectations that your wells are going to have as you push out within a specific play or pool. Now looking at the technical studies library in a little bit more depth.
As we mentioned, the technical studies library contains over 300 individual technical studies over the Western Canadian and Williston basins primarily. There are 22 separate Montney studies included. It includes almost every play in the basin: Clearwater, Duvernay, Cardium, the Mannville, Bakken, Three Forks. There's almost everything is covered, and the scope varies. It includes everything from basin analysis and petroleum systems analysis, hydrogeology, play assessments, completions analysis, sedimentology, petrophysics, geomechanics. Really, depending upon the study, there can be a multitude of offerings included within the data set.
So what kind of coverage do we have with the technical studies library? Well, as you can see highlighted here in this slide, it just gives you a quick snapshot of kind of the coverage and the depth and and what age that we have a number of these studies that go across the WCSB and the Williston Basin. Now we'll get into what the digest is. The CDL Digest really is your industry-leading research and analysis. It's a single source that you can go to really understand who has been bought by who is drilling what why they're drilling it, is some of the interesting things that they might be doing with completion technologies, areas that we're starting to see a higher percentage of land sales in certain rights, significant wells of interest, split analysis, a number of pool and case studies, and regional mapping that has been done throughout the years within these specific areas. And as previously mentioned, it is also this huge, it's being able to take all of that knowledge from the industry itself and having that experience to know what was done 20 years ago and 10 years ago and how some of those completions have changed, or how we analyze the play differently and how we're exploiting it differently, or developing for new things. That really gives it the edge and becomes such a useful tool for the geologists, engineers, landmans, managers toolbox. Now we'll jump into the fluid dynamics database, the CDFD.
The Fluid Dynamics database is our newest offering, and it is a curated database that contains data on over 12,000 Montney horizontal wells. And in this, we've assigned a landing zone for every one of them to make comparison across the basin easy and pain-free. We have pressure data for over 7,000 wells that are quality coded, and there is some logic built into it as to the quality of the tests. So there's, these include static gradients, transients, buildups, defits, among others. We have temperatures for every well in the Montney, so this is done either through direct measurement or a basin-wide temperature model and extrapolating. We have gas chemistry for over 10,000 wells, and a lot of these include multiple samples through time. Water chemistry and oil chemistry are going to be included in the platform by the end of Q4 2021, and it is available either through Catalyst as an online application where one can make pad level comparisons, map views, or data mining, or we can provide CDL Connect to make a direct connection into SQL or whatever other platform you may be interested in. This is just an example, comparing type logs by areas where we have our regional stratigraphy, in this case Upper Montney, Upper Middle Montney, Lower Middle Montney, and Lower Middle Montney. So this logic is applied to the entire data set. So you can tell, through areas, are wells being drilled all in the Upper Montney, all in the Lower Montney, or, how do you gain insight without having to go and pick all the tops yourself? This platform supplies it to you.
In terms of what this actually looks like in the database itself, you can see that displayed on this slide, where you can see from a map view that we have in the bottom left-hand corner, we have a number of wells that we've grabbed. We've thrown up to show that throughout these wells from these various pads, you can see that there's a detailed zone of interest. So you've got the different stratigraphic intervals that those wells are landed in. And then as you push over on the chart here, you can also see the maximum pressure. That again, as previously mentioned, that could be whether it's static gradients or defits or buildup pressures, and you can go and dig further into the database to start to cull out the specific information that you want to see. And you can start to see where that is in relationship to specific temperature gradients, and then tie that all back to, we're going to get into more detail in the play metrics, but then tie that into some of the forecasting that you're seeing with your wells and what the expectations are, and start to piece it together in terms of whether it's an Upper Montney or a Lower Montney and what that actually looks like. And now we'll start to get into the play metrics. With this Road Play Metrics module that's powered by Catalyst, which is the same platform that we had shown in the previous slide regarding CDFD, this really does give you an idea of what your type curves are for a specific area. And the real win with this application is the ability to benchmark wells within specific plays and areas, and then forecast out what you can have for your expectations for wells as you move forward with similar type qualities. And depending on where you're looking at, you can see liquids, rich areas, gas, and oil, and it's all forecasted out on a play-by-play basis. And you can start to put this into your different buckets of categories and your type curves, and the tiers that are associated with each one of them. There's also the ability to play with some of the capital costs and operating costs and dig into your plays in a lot more detail. And when you start to look at this in terms of a Montney example, what's interesting about this specific slide itself is that it's showing that you've got the multiple windows here in terms of your total gas production and your CGRs. And that CGR is really what we're utilizing in terms of being able to forecast out what we can expect for liquids in these plays and what the type curves that are going to be associated are like.
CDL One, what's great about it? Well, there's one login. We have 3 platforms all online. They do not require any downloads. You can get at them through your browser. And in this case, it's the same username, same password, and you can gain access to all of this information.
What is the power of CDL One? Well, it becomes your one source and your one solution to really have that premier basin intelligence and knowledge. Whether that's from the study, whether that's from the digest, whether it's from your own analysis of taking all the data from the CDFD or the role play metrics module, it really does give you that upper edge in terms of your asset knowledge, your asset exploitation or exploration, and your ability to see what your neighbors are doing and how you're measuring up. So it's one user and one login. And one of the really powerful parts of CDL products is that it's an unlimited number of users within a corporation. And this can also be one line item, which makes it easier for billing, and you're not dealing with multiple entities and multiple subscription times. And it's entirely on one platform. This is all web-based. And the data is available as PDFs, CSVs, through CDL Connect. Depending on what the product is, you can download all of this information and have it readily available at your fingertips. So with that, I would like to leave you with our contact information. Both myself or Adam are happy to dig into further details on any one of these products or chat with you about some of the interesting geological complexities that you have been working with in your day-to-day workflow. And thank you very much for taking the time to listen to our presentation.